Welcome back to Sad Clown Outdoors on the YJ series, which I'm always doing something to the YJ, so keep tuned. Today, on this episode, I'm talking light bars. So this is a Warrior Safari roof rack that I've mounted this light bar to. It has 4 points for mounting individual KC lights. I wanted a light bar, so I took a piece of steel and I just drilled out holes and mounted it to it, extended it out to where that bracket would mount to the light bar, and then I ran my light bar wiring, and that's what we're going to talk about today, light bar wiring. This will work for pretty much any kind of light bar you want to put on your YJ or any other vehicle, but specifically how I routed it on the YJ. Let's open it up. All right, here we are. The wiring comes off of the light bar, and I've zip tied it down the actual roof rack itself. I put a little piece of foam right here because my roof rack bangs up against the hard top. That's all that is, but everything is zip tied down. And then I routed it inside the doorway underneath the cowl seal, and at some point I'll loosen up the dash and slip it back here. But I did loosen it up originally and get it tucked in from the wiring. You fold the window down, run the wiring underneath the window so that waterproofs that wire, and that wire will not get pinched in any way. It'll be protected forever. Then you tuck the wire in behind these 3 bolts here and these 3 bolts here, which you have to take off these 3 to take this down anyway, so it's not an extra step. And then you run it underneath behind all your air conditioner if you have one. Some don't. But run it up and behind, and you can run it across the firewall to the driver's side. Before we go over there though, I want to show you something else. Because I remove the roof rack from time to time to take off the hard top, I put a waterproof connector on mine, quick disconnect. It's pretty simplistic and it works out. Think about it. Now, in the YJ, there is a panel to the bottom right of the steering wheel that's just solid black, nothing really going on. If you go to the back side of this panel, you just take this fascia off here, this little plastic bezel, pop this center section off. It's 2 screws, and then there's about 6 screws around it that the whole thing can come out. And then when you remove it, on the back side there are 3 pretty much pre-stamped switch locations, and if you want to use a toggle switch that's round, you can drill a hole in that location, or if you want to use a full fledged square toggle, then you can trim that out with a Dremel, would do just fine. And I'll let you see how mine look. Okay, so here underneath the bezel there are 3 from the factory ports for switches. This looks like a solid panel, but if you take this off, you'll see the cutouts. Just trace them with your Dremel and cut out each section, and then pop these little switches in. Then you can take your wire from that side of the Jeep behind here and run it up to this switch. One wire goes to ground, the other one goes to the switch. The other side, because there's 3 prongs, you have ground, you have hot, and then the other hot, you run through a hole in your firewall and out the other side. So you just drill a simple hole through your firewall. Make sure you use silicone or a rubber grommet so that wire's not cutting up against that that metal firewall and cutting holes in it. On the other side, it comes up this bracketry, and I just stuck it to the standard firewall wiring harness and ran it across the top. So it runs across behind the battery, and then it goes to this relay. And as you can see in this relay, one wire goes on to this plug, which you can just wire up a plug, or a lot of the light bars come with the plug, but the plug plugs right into the relay, and the other part that goes out of there for hot goes into this fuse and straight to one of your mounting surfaces on your battery terminals. So that is a very efficient way utilizing the YJ's natural access points to wire up a light bar effectively. I have coated it in this plastic wire sheathing because mice like to chew at wires, and they get to the sheathing first and the sun comes down, and instead of dry rotting this, because I'm in the desert, instead of dry rotting the wire coating, it's just dry rotting this plastic stuff, and I can just swap that out by cutting a couple zip ties and putting new stuff on. So there you have it, YJ light bar. Got any questions on it? Put it down in the comments. Remember, like and subscribe. Sad Clown Outdoors.